Welcome back to Rabid Noise. My guest on the program now is Alex Agnew from Diablo Blvd. Welcome to the show, man.
Hello. Nice to have me. It's like an honor to be on an Australian program. I've never talked to anyone Australian in real life, so it's really cool.
Well, I hope you can actually understand my accent.
Oh, perfectly, yeah.
Because we tend to slur, though.
No, it's okay. I can really understand everything you say. It's probably make it easier if I'm really drunk, but this is cool, though, anyway.
Awesome, man. Well, so I've recently discovered you guys, and I admit that, I'm definitely a fan of what you're doing. And, with your third album, Follow the Deadlights, due out in January, how does it feel that, your music is constantly reaching new people out there in the world, especially as far as down here in Australia?
Yeah, fantastic. That's what we wanted to do all along. The first two albums were only released in the Benelux, which is Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, which is a really small area on the map. And now, because of our third album and because of our signing with Nuclear Blast, that's going to change. So a lot more people are finding out about this band. And that's a really good feeling, to reach across oceans and have people call you or try to call you is fantastic.
Well, but I've been absolutely, loving your tracks. It's such a refreshing, I don't know. It's kind of got a classic sort of sound to it, yet it's got something new about it as well, and it's really refreshing to hear a band like you guys.
Oh, right. Thank you very much. I guess that's what we were trying to do without really trying. I guess we just found all of our influences, which some of them are really classic, going from Black Sabbath to things like Danzig or The Cult or Type O Negative or some 80s hardcore, maybe even stuff like Cro-Mags and stuff like that. We're kind of fan of all kinds of things. And I guess if you mix all of those up, you get something that sounds slightly original. I don't know.
I think that's the best way to do it, really. I mean, because there are some bands out there that, they'll only stick to their one style and they want to sound like Lamb of God and they'll just stay to the one thing, But, it's definitely fresh, man. And you got such a kick-ass sound. I think it's just going to build and build for you guys, well, the album title, of course, Follow the Deadlights. What was the inspiration behind the album title?
The Deadlights is actually a term that was used in a book by Stephen King called It, but I thought it always sounded really interesting because I kind of always saw it as some kind of will-o'-the-wisp, something that's really beautiful and that you follow to your own destruction. And that's a bit what the song are about. It's actually about sex with the wrong woman. trying to get. I wanted to over-intellectualize it, but this is not going to work. That's basically what it's about. It's just, well, you can do with it what you like, but I think it's always, you have some things in your life that are not really good for you, but you do them anyway. And I think everybody has that, going from smoking or drugs or eating the wrong food or whatever you want, just doing something that is actually going to lead to your destruction, but it's just too good to pass up or something like that. So I think that's kind of the theme behind it, but we'll give it a more dark, erotic feel and say that it's about a woman.
All of the above.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you guys recently toured with Machine Head, right?
Yeah, we did, yeah. We did a lot of Europe. We started in Milan, and we did Austria, Switzerland, and a lot of Germany. So we were on that leg of the tour, yeah.
How was that? Was it awesome?
It was fantastic, yeah, absolutely. The guys from Machine Head are very nice guys. They also treated us very well, which was really cool because, a band of their stature doesn't really, sometimes you might not really get to see them, or they don't give you any sound check time, or they don't do any of that stuff. And they did all of it. So they were just really nice guys. They all came to watch us as well, which was also very nice. So when we started a conversation with them, they actually listened to what we did, which is really cool. And they were just very nice guys. They just gave us everything we needed. So, and they're an awesome band. I mean, we watched them destroy the place every evening. So it was a really great experience. Yeah.
That's really cool, man. Especially, as you said, sometimes, you don't get to see the headline bands, they'll stick to themselves, and it's cool to hear that there's bands like that really do care about, the bands they're touring with and things like that. That's respect to those dudes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, because I really loved them before, as a band. I really thought they were great, but now just to having met them and just seeing how nice they are and how cool they are, yeah, I mean, I like him even more now.
It's funny how that happens, eh?
Yeah, it is, because I've opened for some people that I kind of idolized, in the past, and that turned out not to be that nice. Danzig being one of them, who of course is very legendary for being not a very nice guy. But it seems that he can be really nice if you're one of his fans, but he's not really nice to other bands, or not very often. So that's the experience we had with him. It was still cool playing with him anyway, But it's always kind of a shame that someone like that doesn't turn out to be a really nice guy.
But then there's plenty of cool guys out there like the Machine Head guys and yourself, of course.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah, because we did a couple of shows with Life of Agony as well, right after that. So that was really cool. They did a short European stop. They did 3 shows, and we opened for all 3 of them. So that was really cool as well.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And they're good guys too?
Yeah. But the guitar player, Joey, I've known for a long time, so I kind of get along with him very well. And he because we opened for him when they played their kind of homecoming show in New Jersey, and then we kind of took it from there, So that was really cool.
Awesome, man. Well, you're also known for your work as a comedian as well. So, what came first for you personally? Was it music or comedy?
Yeah, it was always music. As a kid, it kind of all started with that. But I think it's a bit simultaneous, because I grew up listening to a lot of comedy and it's just something that I started doing in Belgium when there wasn't much of a comedy scene. And this is a really small country, and we were kind of relatively latecomers with pretty much everything. So I think I was probably one of the main people that started up the stand-up scene and that made it what it is today, which is pretty big now, but, it's on television and everything. But it didn't used to be when I started out, so... And I got really big at it as well, because I sold out 15,000-seater arenas and stuff like that. But I just, after about 13 years, I kind of, I kind of had the feeling that, because this band's been going for about 10 years as well. I was kind of, doing that in between, but I wanted to focus full time on the band because I thought that was more important. So I kind of quit comedy. So I'm not doing it anymore now. I'm just doing it full time with the band.
So at least, you're being creative in one way or the other, and, yeah. What a way to do it, man. There's nothing like getting up there on stage, right? But how would you say...
Absolutely.
How would you describe, performing in front of a metal crowd compared to doing stand-up by yourself solo? Is it a different sort of nerves, or?
Oh, yeah, totally different. The cool thing is that you get backup from a band, so you're not there all by yourself, which is kind of it's kind of a support, because when you're a comedian, you're just all by yourself, and it's always great to get audience reaction, because I'm the kind of front man that always asks the audience to do stuff. Well, I want it to be like an interactive thing where you don't pretend like the audience isn't there. And I think that's probably something that I got from being a comedian, that you make a connection to the audience. And with music, of course, it's always great to get them moving and to get them dancing. But if they're not laughing while you're doing comedy, then it's a really shit night. while with music, that doesn't have to be the case. Sometimes people will just listen to you because they don't know you very well, and they'll go, "Oh, we just want to hear what that sounds like." Doesn't necessarily mean you've got a bad gig. While if you're on stage as a comedian and no one's laughing, that's a shit gig.
Yeah, I heard it. I do listen to a few podcasts with a lot of comedians, and they do say that it is quite nerve-wracking getting up there and doing that. And everyone bombs from time to time. But man, I don't know how I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand up there. So it takes a lot of balls.
It's just something you get used to. In the beginning, it was really hard for me as well, but in the end, something that you do a lot and you get better at. It's just something that kind of starts working for you, and then it was really fun actually, and it gives you a lot of confidence to go on a stage and to just to connect to people and to not just stand there and pretend like the audience isn't there, which is something that I always liked about bands anyway. There was a lot of I'm a bit from all over the place. I've listened to all kinds of music, a lot of heavy metal, but a lot of hardcore as well. And what I loved about those old hardcore bands, the bands like Cro-Mags and Sick of It All, and all those guys, is Bad Ball. And then they used to talk to the audience, and they used to say do this, do that, and after the show we'll see you at the merch and we'll come and say hello. And there was this big connection that they weren't these rock stars that you couldn't reach. They were just guys that did something really cool on stage, but were really accessible, and that's what we've always done, because that's a bit of our background. We're a bit of a DIY kind of band. We've always done everything our own way and by ourselves, and we just noticed that even though you're signed to a label, you still want to do things your own way. So I think it's very important to have a connection to the people that actually come to your shows and buy your T-shirts and stuff like that.
I definitely agree with you there, man. Especially, I love seeing a band that connects with their audience. I think you're definitely on the right track there. I mean, because there are a lot of bands you'll see, and it's like they get up there, they'll play, and then they'll piss off, and you're just like, okay, well, I saw something, but I didn't experience it. So
yeah, this just works better for me if you're this, because it's just more fun as well. It's just more it's just a lot more enjoyable when you get the audience involved, and it's more of a kind of like you feel a connection to the band and to the audience, which I had with a lot of bands when I was young growing up. That's the stuff that kind of inspired me as well to do something and not just to watch a bunch of arrogant rock stars who act like they don't give a shit about the audience in front of them, because in the end, without the audience, you're nothing. So you kind of need each other to make this work. So that's always, I don't tend to look down on audiences or to see them as something different than us. It's just us up there on the stage making the music, and if they're not down there enjoying it, well, there's not much of a point to it.
That's right, man. That's right, and that's awesome to hear. I'd love to experience seeing you guys live for myself.
Well, we'd love to come over to Australia, so I hope that'll work one day, because I'd definitely love to visit it. In the beginning of the interview, I said I've never actually heard an Australian being. Of course I have, because a guy that opened for me in Belgium when I played these arenas is an Australian comedian. You might know him. He's from a metal band. He used to play in Slaughterlord and Nazul. His name's Steve Hughes.
That's
yeah,
him.
He was a really good friend of mine, because I met him at a comedy show in Belgium, and he had this Black Sabbath shirt on, and we kind of got to talking immediately, and we got along famously. So he's actually a good friend of mine, and he did the same thing. He came from bands and went to comedy. I came from comedy and went into a band. But the thing is, we had this mutual love of funny things and of heavy metal. So I guess, it's not that much of a stretch, to be honest. It's the same thing with when I was a comedian. I had a lot of my subjects were about things like subcultures and music and stuff like that. So I don't think there's that much of a difference. It's just that the good thing about writing lyrics for a band is that you don't have to be funny. You can just be angry. You don't have to think up a joke to get your anger sold to the people. You can just go, no, there's no joke here. This